Hey everybody, happy Saturday and welcome to an impromptu live here on the channel. And so today, July 1st, is my Katahdin Summit versary. I guess that's what we say in the Appalachian Trail world. And I just decided why not go live, celebrate that summit versary by talking about the current conditions out there on the trail in northern New Hampshire and really throughout Maine. Once you get into Baxter State Park, talk about the rules and regulations that you need to know that you must adhere to when you are hiking the Appalachian Trail through Baxter State Park and going up the Hunt Trail up on your way to Katahdin, and then sharing with you guys a couple hostels that you should stay at. You should utilize their services and some things that they have going on. But first, I wanted to say happy Canada Day, everybody. I had no idea July 1st was Canada Day until I actually got to the top of Katahdin. And I was totally exhausted, and there were a ton of people up there, probably 25, 30 people. And my knees were all bloody, and I just wanted to sit down. So I sat down, and I started to look around, and I was like, what's up with all these Canadian flags? So I started talking to somebody up there at the summit, and they were like, it's Canada Day. So a lot of the day hikers were out that day. July 1st, 2016 at the summit of Katahdin. It was a gorgeous sunny day, clear skies. You could see forever. You could see the knife's edge. And every year on July the 1st, I can't help but think about that day, think about it being Canada Day, and just celebrating summiting Katahdin and working on completing my first section hike. And something else that's been going on in my mind this week is, you guys, if you have listened to the podcast over the last 6, 7, 8 weeks, I had this series going. I called it the Appalachian Trail Section Hiker Series. And I did episodes on best practices is the way you could look at this. Best practices for hiking Georgia, hiking the Smokies, hiking the Shenandoahs, hiking Connecticut, and then hiking the Whites. And then I took a break from the series, and I was looking at my YouTube this week, and I was like, it's just missing something. It's missing Katahdin. So I don't like to leave things incomplete. So I wanted to finish that out with talking about best practices, rules and regulations, and what needs to happen when you get into Baxter State Park. And it just kind of happened and coincided with some craziness that is going on the trail this week with hikers up in that area. And you guys, I don't know if you follow this Facebook page. So I follow the Baxter State Park Facebook page. And this past week on the 27th, they posted that all Katahdin trails are open as of June 27th, 2023. However, many are also flooded in sections. Please plan to get your feet wet by staying on the trails or turn back if you want to keep your feet dry. Going around wet areas damages the trails and the vegetation around them. So, and I follow a couple people that are out on the trail right now. One section hiker in particular, she was actually on the show last year. Her name is Julie Hill, or she goes by Geo, and I have been following her on her Facebook page, and she is up in that area right now, and she took a couple pictures after she went through the Mahoosic Notch and got up the Mahoosic Arm. And you guys, I mean, she's just walking in floodwaters. So it's kind of interesting to follow everybody that is up in that area right now. But hikers are summiting Katahdin. I'm seeing those pictures as well. So another interesting picture on the Baxter State Park Facebook page. You can actually see here the trails in the southern portion of the park are flooded in places to waist deep or higher. And that was posted on June 23rd, which was just about a week ago. So you guys, the trails in northern Maine are flooded. But so best practice for you right now, if you are planning your section hike or if you're a through hiker out there, follow the Baxter State Park Facebook page. They are posting daily, if not 2 or 3 times a day, what is happening in Baxter State Park, what is happening on the Hunt Trail, which is the AT once you get to the base of Katahdin. So that is a good site to follow. And it's been fun for me to follow and see what's going on. And I feel really bad for everybody in that area right now who is trying to finish their through hike, or for anybody out there trying to go out on a section hike. You guys, I cannot imagine right now, since I summited July the 1st. So I summited Katahdin, and then I went southbound through the 100-mile wilderness. And I can't imagine right now dealing with the floodwaters and the bugs and all that stuff that is going on for all those guys. And they are tough hikers, and I commend them. And so that has been fun. So I see a couple people here in the chat. So want to say hey to Stella. What's happening, Stella? Hope you are doing well. And want to say hey to Mighty Dog. Mighty Dog, hope you're doing well, enjoying your Saturday. And appreciate you guys coming here on the live, on this impromptu live. So you guys, I just wanted to give some current trail condition updates. New Hampshire and Maine are flooded right now. And I just saw on the Baxter State Park site that I'm going to go over here in a second, they are expecting torrential downpours this weekend. So be safe out there, everybody. And make sure you pay attention to the trail conditions up there right now. It is crazy. It is crazy. So if you're just joining, I am celebrating with this impromptu live, my summitversary, I guess that's what everybody calls it, of summiting Katahdin on July 1st, 2016. And you guys, it is Canada Day as well. So happy Canada Day to everybody out there. And for those of you in the chat, hey Sheila, what is happening? Thanks for joining in on this live. What I really want to do is just give some current trail conditions, which we just went over for all those section hikers out there, all those day hikers trying to day hike to Katahdin, and all those through hikers coming through northbound at A-Ball Bridge. The trails are flooded, and they are expecting more rain this weekend. And I am sure today is typically a day where southbounders, you'll see that southbound season start. And I imagine those guys and gals are sitting up there right now on July 1st, waiting out the rain. So current trail conditions, you guys, I've got notes here. You guys will crack up. Somehow I've gotten in this habit of writing my notes on an envelope. So, Canada Day, went over the series that I've been working on, and I will pop that back up again. So over the last 6, 7, 8 weeks on the podcast, I've been putting out episodes for logistics, best practices, hostels, shuttle drivers in various states along the Appalachian Trail. And I've got Georgia, I've got hiking the Smokies, hiking the Shenandoahs, which by far was the most popular episode. Apparently, I've convinced a lot of people to go through the Shenandoahs, which is awesome. Hiking Connecticut, it is a perfect section hike. And then I rounded out the series with hiking the Whites. But you guys, it just wasn't sitting well with me without adding hiking in Baxter State Park and getting up there in Maine, because that's the exciting part, summiting Katahdin and figuring out those logistics. And now that we've gone over those trail conditions, if you guys have any questions as we go, for those of you that are in the chat, please feel free to put them in the chat. Otherwise, we will get started here. Let's see. All right, you guys. The other day, I was looking at the trail updates from the Appalachian Trail Conservancy. And this is a site that I 100% recommend that everybody have on demand on your phone. Have it marked, have it bookmarked for the latest trail updates. And the ATC gives trail updates all the way up and down the trail. And this might be the first time that I have seen almost everything in red. And of course, that is caution. So as you look at this, and this is straight up to date as of today, there are air quality alerts from Virginia all the way through Vermont. And I'm assuming that's from the Canadian fires that are coming down. And the other day, you could actually see some of that stuff here in Charlotte. So that is a thing. Something that really made me sad is this one right here. The Maine Kennebec River ferry pauses operations. So for those section hikers that are out there trying to get a section done in Maine, and for those through hikers, as of 6/30/23, I'm going to open this up. So they have stopped running the ferry across the Kennebec, and there is no detour. It says hikers should take an alternate route by shuttling around the Kennebec River until the ferry resumes its normal service. Hikers detouring around the Kennebec River will still be eligible for the 2,000 miler certificate. And just so you guys know, I'm not sure anybody on here or listening or watching this is familiar with the roads in that area. It is not easy getting shuttled back and forth around the Kennebec. I mean, you're talking hour and a half, 2 hour long shuttles, depending on where you are, how to get out of there, the dirt roads. I've actually been shuttled, I guess, to the southern end of the Kennebec and then the northern end of the Kennebec. It is doable. It's not easy, but you guys, when you get down there and you're standing at the Kennebec, it's not that far across to the other side. So my heart really goes out to these hikers right now that are trying to finish Maine. Going, a Kennebec is another iconic marker in your notch going through the Appalachian Trail. And it just makes me sad that they've stopped the service. But hopefully over the next few days, the rain will die down, the river will go down, and they will be able to resume that service. And if it was me, I would have to go back. As soon as they started that, I'd have to shuttle back and go across the Kennebec. So hopefully those hikers out there are figuring this out. Section hikers that are up there, if you got a car, help some through hikers out, help them get around, help them get back, whatever you need to do. So just wanted to show that. And I am sure that will change. Hopefully the rain will die down. So in New Hampshire and Maine, they've got a high water alert. New Jersey. Apparently, there's a lot of bear activity this time of year, North Carolina, Tennessee, Virginia. So, another resource for you guys to make sure you have, especially if you are planning a hike right now. The ATC always puts trail updates out, and I see that Stella put that link in the chat. So, appreciate that, Stella. Yeah, you guys, my heart just goes out to everybody trying to hike right now, and appreciate that. Mighty Dog, he says, thank you for always providing such timely and beneficial info. You are vital to our hiking community and family. Appreciate that. It's just something that I'm interested in, and I figure if I'm interested in it and section hikers are trying to plan their section hikes, and through hikers are trying to get through that area, why not be a resource? And appreciate that, Sheila. So we've gone over currently what's happening on the trail up there in northern New Hampshire and Maine. It's flooded, you guys. I've seen some pictures. It's not waist deep, but it's muddy, and it's muddy and wet up in Maine anyway, so I cannot imagine in the river crossings in the 100-mile wilderness, especially, that water is probably high, and there are ropes across a couple of the river crossings, so just be mindful of that. I want to get into... I've gotten a lot of questions over the years, especially since I started the podcast. What are the regulations for hiking in Baxter State Park? And everybody seems to think, Baxter State Park, so many rules and regulations. Yeah, they do have some rules and regulations, but in my experience, they're pretty easy to follow, and it's pretty easy to navigate. And one of the sites you can go to is, well, not one of the sites, the site that I go to when it comes to Baxter State Park is the Baxter State Park Maine website, and that's baxterstatepark.org. And you guys can go over to, they have a specific page for the Appalachian Trail in Baxter State Park, and it talks about all the rules and regulations that are pretty easy to follow. It says the northernmost 10 miles of the AT is in Baxter State Park, hosted by the Baxter State Park Authority. Day use hiking of Katahdin has been managed under controlled model for the past 3 decades. The following policies apply to AT hikers entering the park. And this goes to southbound, northbound, section hikers, flip-floppers. These next bullet points, it says southbound AT hikers must comply with entrance and camping policies and fees governing the general public. And what that means for a southbounder is, depending on how you're going to get in the park, are you going to have your family drop you off, or are you going to spend the night before you plan on summiting Katahdin? And for the southbounder, I'm going to hold off on that. I'm going to give you some more information when I talk to you guys about this hostel that I'm going to talk to you guys about here shortly. But a southbounder is almost like a section hiker. You still have to get what Baxter State Park calls an AT hiker permit. And here on this website, it says all AT hikers, northbound, southbound, section flip-floppers must secure an AT hiker permit at the Katahdin Stream Campground Ranger Station before attempting to summit. So that's like step one. So the morning you are planning to summit, especially if you are a section hiker, a southbounder, or maybe a flip-flopper, you are going to get up as early as possible the morning you are going to summit, and the rangers will be there. You will go to the ranger station or at Katahdin Stream Campground. There is a registration box where you register that you're getting ready to climb Katahdin, and you've got to have that permit They call it an AT hiker permit that you have got to secure either that morning, and I think you can get one the prior evening at the Katahdin Stream Campground Ranger Station. And you need to read about this. Let me click on this and see if it will take us over to that. So there is a specific process, and I must say, and I should share, that the permit is free. You just have to register and say that you are climbing Katahdin. And here is some information on that. I think they give out over 3,000 permits. If you say you are a northbounder, a southbounder, a section hiker, or a flip-flopper, they have over 3,000 permits that they hand out each year so you can summit Katahdin. It should not be a problem. If you are hiking northbound on the AT and you've been hiking through, and section hikers who have hiked more than 100 miles before you enter Baxter State Park. So let me say that again. If you're a northbound AT through hiker, you have done well more than 100 miles to get into the park. But if you are a section hiker and you are section hiking the 100-mile wilderness, that is your 100 miles. You can camp at the Birches campsite at Katahdin Stream if space is available. I think they take 12 people a night. That does cost $10 a person, and there is no work for stay. So basically what's happening is, if you're a northbound AT through hiker, or you're a section hiker and you've completed the 100-mile wilderness, you're going to get to Baxter State Park. Hopefully you'll get a space at the Birches, and the next day you'll get your AT hiker permit, or that evening if the rangers are out that evening, and then you will go up and summit Katahdin. I want to emphasize again that everybody needs an AT hiker permit, whether you're northbound, southbound, section hike, flip-flop, but there are different places. Basically what happens, everybody needs a permit. And then the next thing that happens is, where are you going to sleep the night before? So if you're through hiking, or you've been out more than 100 miles before you hit Baxter State Park, you're going to try to get a reservation at the Birches. If not, if you were like me and you drove in, so I drove in the evening of June the 30th. I got a campsite, and then the next morning, since I summited in 2016, the AT hiker permit system did not exist. So I did not have to get that hiker permit. But what I did have to do is get a campsite at Katahdin Stream Campground. So, and that's a whole nother thing. So they do take reservations for Katahdin Stream Campground itself. And on this website, once you go through all the rules and regulations, and you have to declare on your AT hiker card if you're northbound, southbound, section hiker, flip-flopper, once you figure out your status and what you're going to do, then you're going to have to figure out how you're going to come through the park. So the easiest way for me to explain this is, if you're a northbound AT through hiker, you are going to enter the park and you are going to try and get a site at the Birches campsite as a through hiker. If you're a section hiker and you completed the 100-mile wilderness, the park does require that you have completed 100 miles before you can stay at the Birches campsite. You're going to try to get your campsite there at the Birches as well, and then you'll pay your $10, and then that evening or the next morning, you will get your AT hiker permit card. If you are just starting your hike, say you just want to day hike Katahdin, and then you want to turn around and go south like I did, through the 100-mile wilderness, or you're starting your southbound trek, you are going to need to get campsite reservations at Katahdin Stream Campground if you want to hike the hunt trail up to Katahdin. And I think the other campground is A-Ball Campground, where you can go up, I think the Helon Taylor Trail up through the Knife's Edge and up to Katahdin. Don't quote me on that because I'm never hiking the knife's edge. But yeah, so the best thing you can do if you are planning to drive up to Baxter State Park and you've got a family member with you and you want to camp overnight, you got to go on their reservation site and you got to book you a campsite and take care of that, and then get your AT hiker permit card from the ranger at the Katahdin Stream Campground. And then once you're done with that, you can hike Katahdin. So the biggest thing about going through Baxter State Park is just make sure you follow the process. And there is no way to drive into Baxter State Park without going through a ranger station. And I believe those open up at, I want to say 8 o'clock in the morning. Don't quote me on that. Check the website for Baxter State Park. The other permit that if you plan on just going up to Baxter State Park and you've got family and they're going to drop you off, you can get a day pass or a parking pass to park in Baxter State Park for the day. That's a process as well. You want to make sure that, again, you guys go on the website, update yourself. There's multiple ways to go through the park. And what I mean by that is northbound, southbound, flip-flop, section hike, day hiker, family dropping you off. Are you going to spend the night before at Katahdin Stream Campground? So make sure you do your research. It's really easy. It's not that hard as probably I'm making it seem, but I just want to make sure that everybody understands that there is a process. So right now, all those through hikers and section hikers that are out there, not only are they trying to get through the floodwaters at the park, they're also trying to make sure, they get their campsite, they get their hiker permit, and then they can finish their trek, and climb Katahdin up the Hunt Trail. I probably should have mentioned this earlier, but when you get into the park, you've got some miles in the park, and then the last 5 miles on the AT up to Katahdin is called the Hunt Trail. It's also the AT, but in the park on the maps, if you get a park map, it is called the Hunt Trail. So hopefully I have made all of that clear as mud for you guys. Another thing that I wanted to talk about are some hostels that you could utilize. And I see my dad on here. Hey, Dad, what is happening? And you'll appreciate this next little segment I'm getting ready to talk about. And you guys, at the start of the 100-mile wilderness, 105 miles south of Katahdin, is an amazing hostel. It is called Shaw's HIKER Hostel, and for some reason, their website would not pull up for me when I tried to load it here on the software that I am using. But the reason I bring up my dad is he and I stayed at Shaw's HIKER Hostel. I think we stayed there, it may have been 4 or 5 days, and we day hiked and utilized their services. They shuttled us. And like my dad said, they have the best breakfast around. The people that own the hostel are Poet and Hippie Chick. That's their trail names. Poet also has an outfitter shop, and you guys, you can resupply there. You could start your hike there. You can get all the gear you need there and then some. And I actually bought a backpack there. I don't know if you remember that, Dad. I bought a Hyper Light Gear backpack. I think he almost convinced my dad to get one as well. But we were day hiking and we were staying there. And I think we utilized their services for about 40 or 50 miles of the trail. They let us, we stayed in our trucks, parked right out front there. And the breakfast you got, I think we only ate breakfast one day because otherwise we would have gained 50 pounds at the hostel. So the breakfast is fried potatoes, eggs, blueberry pancakes, bacon, coffee, and I'm not talking small amounts. I'm talking all you can eat. And they've got this huge griddle in their kitchen, and Poet is up every morning. They're chopping potatoes, they're cooking everything. And when you eat that breakfast, you got to go hike because your belly extends about 10 inches beyond what it should be. So you have got to stay at Shaw's Hostel. You have got to, you got to go to their outfitter. You got to eat that breakfast. It's just bringing back so many awesome memories. And you guys, I got to share all that with my dad. So that was pretty awesome. So at the southern end of the 100-mile wilderness, if you are going north, you're going to hit Shaw's in the town of Monson. And Dad, we also spent a lot of time in Monson, but we have one regret. We did not go to the ATC in Monson. We walked by that ATC building, I don't know how many times in the evening, and we just never went over there. And I'm not sure why. I think we were just so tired from hiking for the day. But yeah, so you guys, as you're hiking north, everybody goes to Shaw's Hostel. If you're hiking south, it's your first stop when you get out of the 100-mile wilderness, and they are going to bring you in, take care of you. You can resupply. You can do everything you need to do. And I could not do this episode without talking about Shaw's HIKER Hostel. So shout out to Hippie Chick and Poet. Really appreciate your services and everything that you guys do up there. Another hostel that I want to bring up here. This is actually it's not a new hostel, but they have new owners. It is in the town of Millinocket. So real quick, let me give you guys, I should have put a map up here. So if you are hiking north on the Appalachian Trail, you're going to hit the town of Monson right before you enter the 100-mile wilderness. And the hostel there that you can utilize is Shaw's Hostel. And the next hostel I'm going to talk to you guys about is on the northern end of the 100-mile wilderness. And so if you're coming up on the 100-mile wilderness and you want to get off the trail before you summit Katahdin, you can go to this hostel. It's the Appalachian Trail Hostel and Outfitters. This would be an excellent place to utilize if you are doing a southbound hike. So if you are planning on starting the AT and going southbound, I 100% recommend that if you don't stay there, that you contact this hostel and utilize some of their services. They have this is something that interests me. They have a slack packing, I don't know, offer. I guess that's what I'll call it. So I was looking at this, and you guys, for section hikers, this is a deal. I'm telling you. So, and I might utilize this if I ever go up and hike in this area again, which in my gut, it tells me I'm going to. So if you are a section hiker and you want to slack pack the 100-mile wilderness, it is possible. And they have they're called 2023 slack packing trips. And they will take you through the 100-mile wilderness. And you guys, they've got this all planned out. They've got your mileages. They've got trail crossings. They've got exactly what you're going to be doing. And it is very appealing as a section hiker. Because what I've learned is if I can utilize hostels and I could utilize people that have done the work for me. So, and this is very important when I say this, so I can concentrate on the hiking, I'm probably going to take advantage of it. and I'm just reading through this. So let's check this out. 2023 slack packing trips, which I am all about. So, they're coming up. So any of you on here that are watching or listening to this, it looks like their dates of slack packing trips this year are July 21st through the 31st, and then September 22nd through October 2nd. And they have it all broken down for you. It looks like day 1, day 2, how many days? 11 days. And I think it's 10 days of hiking, if I remember reading through this correctly. They've even got it broken down to the time allotted each day, 1.5 to 1.6 miles an hour. And going through the 100-mile wilderness, you're in good shape when you're doing 1.5 to 1.6 miles an hour. Yeah, so this looks very, very appealing, especially, because you guys, this allows you to not think about all the logistics of going through the 100-mile wilderness and everything, big food, large food carries, having a hostel bring you a resupply. All that information is in here. That's another reason I wanted to share with you guys this hostel. It is not a new hostel. It just has new owners. And I think the new owners worked at the hostel. So let's see, opened by Trash Panda and Loins of Arabia now own the hostel. And I think it says in here they worked there for, I think, 4 years or 4 seasons, 4 hiker seasons, working at the hostel, learning the ins and outs. And you guys, they've got it all down. And I want to address the southbound hiker. They've got stuff for you, the southbound hiker. They've got workshops. They've got how to pack your pack. They've got the Sobo special. So part of that special is, let's see, it says, for those ready to hit the trail running, this package will have you climbing Katahdin a mere 12 hours after you arrive to the hostel. Okay, that's not Jester. That might be somebody else, but that's not Jester. But they've got specials. The Super Sobo special is, looks like 2 nights. They've got southbound workshops. They've got it all. They've got information about the permits in Baxter State Park. So if you guys have listened to any of the series that I have done, this Appalachian Trail Section Hiker series that I have put together, you guys 100% know that I love utilizing the hostels, the hostel system. They recommend shuttle drivers. They know the trailheads. They know where to tell you where to leave your car, where not to leave your car. And I'm telling you right now, utilizing these hostels when you are either wanting to climb Katahdin and go through Baxter State Park, or B, you are wanting to go through the 100-mile wilderness, you are not going to go wrong with Shaw's Hiker Hostel or contacting the Appalachian Trail Hostel and Outfitter. Again, Shaw's is in Monson, and then the Appalachian Trail Hostel and Outfitter are in Millinocket, which are 2 of the main towns when you get on that northern end of the trail. So I don't see any questions in the chat. Sheila says that she is definitely going to do the Knife's Edge. Well, Sheila, my head's off to you, because when I got up there and I saw that Knife's Edge, it's absolutely gorgeous. And I commend anyone that does it. But it's not for me. I actually have said this before, because on the day that I summited Katahdin, I actually went up there with 3 of my hiking girlfriends, and 2 of us went back down the hunt trail. And then the other 2, actually, one of my friends, she strapped a GoPro on her hat and they went down the knife's edge, and we waved them goodbye, and we turned around and went south, back on the AT, back down to Katahdin Stream Campground. Mighty Dog says his wife is excited to hear about the 100-mile slack pack opportunity. So I'm telling you, I am all about that slack pack up there in the 100-mile wilderness, because when you get up there, you can really, really, really focus on the hiking and let somebody else deal with the logistics. And to take that off of your mind is a huge, huge benefit, especially if you're a section hiker and, you know, you got to fly on a plane, you got to take a train, you got to get picked up in a car. It's a lot of travel to get up to that northern end of Maine, and that will exhaust you even before, you know, you start climbing Katahdin. So take all of that into consideration. Sheila, it's not happening. So I will end this spontaneous live. You know what? I got a question for you guys. So if I hiked north on the Appalachian Trail and summited Katahdin, you know, tagged the sign, yay, I did it. And then I went back south 5 miles on the Appalachian Trail back down to Katahdin Stream Campground. All right, let me explain that again. So I went north, tagged the sign, finished my section hike, but I went south back down the trail 5 miles. So to complete my second section hike, do I have to climb Katahdin again? Because if you think about it, if you're going southbound on the trail, you got to hike north, touch the summit, and then you turn around and begin your southbound hike. So when I went up there and touched the summit, does the southbound return count for a second section hike? That's the question. Does... So Stella says you have to do it again. And my dad says, you know the answer. I kind of know the answer. Hey, Austin, what is happening? So Side Trail Adventures says, sounds like Dad and Stella have the answer. All right, you guys, I'm going to leave it with that. So if you are watching this later, put in the comments, yes, you have to hike it again, or no, you don't. So I've already gone up, tagged the summit, turned around, went south. For my second section hike completion of the Appalachian Trail, does Jester have to climb Katahdin again? That's the final question. Put your answers here in the chat or put them in the comments, you guys. I truly, truly, truly... what kind of section hike stops 5 miles below Katahdin? I'm not sure. It doesn't. So here's the thing. So when I was working on my first completion of the Appalachian Trail, you know, you have to go up and tag the summit, but I turned around and came back down. My dad, do you have a conscience? Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Yeah. So answer that question, you guys. And I am pretty sure you guys know what I'm going to do. So enjoy the rest of your Saturday. Thanks for entertaining me this afternoon and helping me finally complete my Appalachian Trail section hiker series. The peer pressure is strong in this group. Indeed it is. I am feeling the pressure. Actually, I'm feeling the love, because anybody that knows me knows 100% what Jester would do. And I will leave it at that. Thanks, y'all. Really appreciate it. And you guys, we'll catch you on the next one. But in the meantime, be safe out there and happy section hiking.